Welcome back to the channel. You already know what time it is. And if this is your first time here, let me say this loud and clear. I am not here to stroke your ego. I'm here to wake you the hell up. Because right now, you're sitting there, staring at your phone, checking that last dry-ass message he sent, replaying the last conversation over and over, like it's a movie you didn't even want to be in. You're scrolling his social media, looking for clues, watching his stories like they hold answers, asking yourself questions like, did I push him away? Did I expect too much? Did I love him wrong? No, girl, you're not confused because of love. You're confused because he lied, and you believed him. And now, you're not even hurting from what he did. You're hurting from what you did to yourself after he did it. Let's be real. He never gave you clarity. He gave you chaos. 1 minute, he wanted you. The next, he disappeared. He dropped hints, not truths. Promises, not effort. And the worst part, you stayed. You made excuses for him. You called his inconsistency trauma. You told yourself he just needed time. You lowered your voice, dimmed your light, softened your standards, just to be easier to love. But love is not supposed to leave you in pieces. Let me tell you about a woman I worked with 6 months ago. She was strong, successful, smart. But when it came to him, she became small. She called it love, but really, it was emotional slavery. He'd ghost her for weeks, then pop up with a hey, and she'd melt like he just wrote her a damn poem. He breadcrumbed her, and she built a whole buffet out of it. You know what finally broke her? Not the silence, not the cheating, not the lies. What broke her was waking up one morning, looking in the mirror, and realizing she didn't even recognize herself anymore. You're doing the same thing. You've become the version of you he trained you to be. Quiet, confused, forgiving, always available. You've forgotten how it feels to be pursued, to be respected, to be chosen. You've traded your peace for his potential. And for what? For a man who couldn't even show up consistently. Society fed you lies. It told you that love is sacrifice, that if you just hold on tighter, stay longer, prove yourself harder, he'll change. But here's the truth they don't want you to hear. A man doesn't change because you suffer. He changes when he suffers without you. And that, my love, is what this is about. Stoicism, emotional control, power in silence, not reacting, not chasing, not trying to convince him of your worth. That's done now. No more explaining, no more overgiving, no more trying to heal someone who didn't even treat your heart like something that could bleed. From this point on, you're going to learn how to take your power back. Not through revenge, not through games, but through discipline, through detachment, through unshakable self-respect. You will teach him a lesson without saying a word, because silence, that's the sharpest sword you'll ever carry. So, if you're really ready, drop this in the comments right now. I will no longer beg to be chosen. Say it loud. Say it for him, for the universe, for yourself. Because what's coming next, it's going to change everything about how you handle men, love, and most importantly, yourself. Next up, we're going deep, because this confusion you feel, it's not a mystery, it's a message, and I'm about to translate it for you. Stay right here, because this pain, it's about to become your power. Stand up, lock in, let go. Number 1, you're not confused. You're ignoring the truth. So, my dear, let's stop lying to ourselves for one damn second. This isn't confusion. This is denial dressed up in a pretty little outfit called hope. And I'm not here to babysit your delusion. I'm here to tear it down so you can finally rebuild yourself. You're not confused. You're ignoring the truth. And yeah, I know it hurts. But pain is part of waking up. You need to bleed a little so you can stop bleeding a lot. Let's call it what it is. He knew what he was doing. Men don't get confused. They get comfortable. There is nothing unclear about disappearing, showing up when it's convenient, feeding you just enough to keep you around, but never enough to make you feel secure. That's not confusion. That's calculation. He was using your loyalty like a doormat and you kept wiping your tears on it, thinking he'd eventually notice. But baby, he saw it. He just didn't care. He's not a lost puppy. He's a grown man who left your heart like an open door and walked in and out like it was a 7-Eleven. And you let him. You trained him to. Every time he came back after treating you like trash, you welcomed him with open arms and zero requirements. And you called that love. But let's take a step back, because this isn't just about him. This is about you. This is about what you've been taught to believe since the day you were old enough to dream about love. That if you're good enough, patient enough, loyal enough, he'll change. He'll choose you. He'll finally wake up. Girl, that's a fantasy sold to you by movies, music, broken mothers, bitter grandmothers, and the same society that praises women for how much pain they can endure, not how much peace they can demand. They told you to love like a martyr, suffer like a saint, and wait like a fool. And they called it strength. That's not strength. That's emotional slavery. And I know that's a harsh word, but so is what you've done to yourself. You sacrificed your peace on the altar of his potential. You silenced your needs to be more understanding. You shrunk yourself so he'd feel bigger. You twisted your heart into knots to make him comfortable in your chaos. And for what? Let me tell you about a woman I met last year. Smart, stunning, kind-hearted. She spent 3 years waiting on a man who wasn't ready. He needed time. He needed space. He needed to figure things out. She gave it all to him. Her time, her body, her tears, her loyalty. Do you know what happened? 6 months after she finally walked away, he got married. Not to her, to someone new, someone he met after her, someone he apparently was ready for. She called me sobbing, not because she wanted him back, but because she finally realized the truth. He wasn't confused. He just didn't want her. And that was a hard pill to swallow. But it was the very thing that set her free. Because here's what you need to understand. You're not stuck because of what he did. You're stuck because of what you refuse to admit. You want to keep believing the lie because the truth requires action. The truth requires change. The truth demands that you walk away, for real this time. And that's terrifying, right? Because if you admit he never truly wanted you, you have to admit you stayed in something that was never real. You have to accept that you gave your best to someone who never even tried to earn it. And most of all, you have to face yourself. But hear me, and hear me good. Yes, the truth hurts, but so does staying in a cycle that's killing you slowly. So does waking up every day, wondering why you're never enough for a man who gives you nothing. So does pretending that one more chance might finally be the one that changes everything. Let me ask you something. How many more lies do you need to hear before you finally start telling yourself the truth? You've been strong in the wrong direction. You've been loyal to your own destruction. You've fought battles that weren't even yours to fight. And for what? For a title? For a warm body next to you at night? For the illusion of love? Love is not confusion. Love is clarity. Love is peace. Love doesn't leave you in the dark and ask you to be patient. It shows up every damn day. And if it doesn't, it's not love. It's a trap. So stop chasing closure. Stop waiting for an apology. Stop thinking that one day he'll wake up and realize what he lost. That man isn't sleeping. He's wide awake. He just knows that as long as you're confused, he's in control. It's time to get angry, not at him, but at the system that told you to suffer for love, at the stories that made you believe struggle is romantic, at the versions of yourself you killed just to keep a broken man comfortable. And once that fire starts burning in you, don't run from it. Rise from it. Burn the lies. Burn the hope that's hurting you. Burn the identity that kept you in this cage. Then rise, reborn, rebuilt, untouchable. You're not a weak woman. You're a woman who forgot her worth. A woman who got lost in someone else's comfort. But now it's time to come home to yourself. So say it with me right now, out loud. Drop it in the comments. Let the world hear you. Let him feel it through the silence. I see the truth now. Say it, believe it, live it. Because what's coming next? It's going to teach you how to stop explaining your worth and start enforcing it. It's time he sees what it feels like to lose the woman who finally stopped lying to herself. Number 2. Confusion is his weapon. Silence is yours. So, my love, let's get this straight. This confusion you're drowning in, that's not an accident. That's not a misunderstanding. That's his plan. Confusion is his weapon. Silence must be yours. The man who gives you mixed signals is doing it on purpose. If he cared, you'd know. If he didn't, you wouldn't have to ask. Let that sink in, because somewhere deep down, you already know. You've felt the truth scratching at your soul, but you keep pushing it down, covering it with hope, with excuses, with maybe he's just busy, with maybe he's scared. Girl, he's not scared. He's selfish. He wanted you in limbo. Why? Because confusion keeps you obedient. It keeps you in line, always guessing, always wondering, always waiting. And a woman who's always waiting can't walk away. A woman who's confused doesn't move. She just sits, quiet, patient, hurting. That's where he wants you, in a permanent state of almost loved, almost chosen, almost enough. He throws you crumbs and watches you turn them into cake. One good morning text after days of silence, and suddenly you're smiling again. One compliment, and your heart starts bargaining. One, I miss you, and you forget the 10 times he ignored you. You're not weak. You're emotionally manipulated. And the worst part? You're blaming yourself for being confused. But baby, he designed it that way. Let me break it down for you. A man who wants you doesn't confuse you. He claims you. He makes sure you know. He doesn't disappear when things get serious. He doesn't pull back when you need clarity. He doesn't leave you hanging like your heart is some damn optional subscription. And the more you explain, the more he vanishes. Every time you send that long paragraph trying to make him understand, trying to be seen, trying to fix the mess he created, you're handing him power. You're trying to decode a man who already understands what he's doing. You're explaining fire to the man who burned you. Stop. Just stop. You are not a therapist. You are not a translator for his damage. You are not responsible for fixing the emotional wounds he weaponizes against you. Do you know what happens when you stop explaining? When you stop reacting? When you go still? He panics. Because you were the predictable one, the one who always replied, always forgave, always answered when he snapped his fingers. He doesn't know what to do with your silence, because for the first time, he doesn't have control. That's Stoicism, my love. Emotional discipline. Choosing peace over drama. Choosing stillness over chaos. Choosing yourself over his crumbs. You don't need to scream, block, threaten, or post a sad quote. That's noise. He feeds off noise, what he can't handle. The deafening silence of your absence. No more reactions, no more explanations. Just disappear into your growth. Let your detachment teach him what your devotion never could. He thought he'd always have access to your energy. Prove him wrong. Be calm, be cold, be done. Say it with me. I owe no explanation. Drop it in the comments. Write it down. Whisper it when your heart starts to crack. Let it become your armor. Because what's coming next? It's going to show you how to starve his ego and feed your soul. Let the silence begin. Number 3. Stop chasing clarity from a man who lives in chaos. So, my love, let me ask you something. How long are you going to keep chasing clarity from a man who can't even keep his own story straight? You're running yourself in circles, losing sleep, digging through old messages like they're some sacred text that holds the truth. But here's the truth. There is no answer. Not from him, anyway, because he doesn't live in truth. He lives in chaos, and he feeds off your need to understand. One day, he's sweet. The next, he's distant. One moment, he's saying how much you mean to him. The next, you're staring at your phone, wondering why he hasn't called in days. Up and down, hot and cold. There's no rhythm, no reason, only disorder. And you're the one trying to create harmony in a man who is committed to confusion. I saw a post on a forum once. A woman said she had been dating a man for 8 months. They had a great weekend trip together, came back laughing, kissing, making plans for the future. And then he vanished. Didn't text, didn't call, nothing. For 3 whole months. Then one day, he popped back up with a, "Hey, how have you been?" Like he just went out to buy milk and forgot his phone. You know what she did? She answered. She said she was hurt. She asked him why. She gave him room to explain. She wanted closure. And you know what he did? He ghosted her again. Because that's how it works. These men don't thrive on connection. They thrive on control. And every time you wait for an explanation, every time you pick up the phone thinking maybe this time he'll be honest, you're not getting closer to the truth. You're getting deeper into the trap. Every time you wait for him to explain, you're handing him power he never earned. Let me say that again. Every time you wait, you pause your healing. You put your life on hold. You silence your own voice, hoping his will return and give you peace. But he's not coming back with peace. He's coming back with more confusion, more excuses, more chaos. And you know what makes it worse? Society taught you to romanticize that chaos. They made movies about the tortured love story, songs about waiting, quotes about soulmates finding their way back to each other. They told you, if you just hold on, it'll all make sense. Lies. You're not in a love story. You're in a cycle. One that starts with a spark, dips into confusion, ends in silence, and then starts all over again. It's not deep. It's not romantic. It's not fate. It's dysfunction. Period. And it's time you learned to create your own closure. He doesn't owe you the last word for you to move on. He doesn't need to give you an ending for you to start again. Because if you keep waiting for him to give you peace, you'll die inside before he ever gives you clarity. Stop waiting for the man who wrecked your car to teach you how to drive. You want to heal? Then stop standing in the wreckage asking the man who crashed you to explain why he didn't hit the brakes. He doesn't care. He's already moved on to another road, another woman, another distraction. Meanwhile, you're standing in pieces, looking for closure in someone who never even knew how to build. No more. You're done begging the storm to be still. You're done trying to pull meaning from the meaningless. Clarity doesn't come from him. It comes from you. It comes from saying, he didn't respect me, and I deserve better. It comes from walking away without a final conversation, without a goodbye, without needing a bow on the mess he left behind. That's Stoicism. That's power. And when he comes back, because trust me, they always come back, let him find silence. Let him find distance. Let him find a woman who no longer needs an answer because she became the answer. Say it out loud. Drop it in the comments. I don't need his closure. Say it again. Let your heart hear it. Let your healing begin with that. Because what's coming next, it's going to teach you how to rebuild your life so strong, so beautiful, so full. He won't even recognize the woman he once thought he could keep confused forever. Number 4. You trained him to treat you like this. Now, untrain him with distance. So, my love, it's time we talk about the part you don't want to hear. He treats you like an option because you acted like one. I know that stings, and it should, because until you stop lying to yourself about how this happened, you're going to keep repeating the same damn pattern with the same kind of man in a different body. And I'm tired of watching you break for someone who was never even holding you properly in the first place. You want to know why he gives you the bare minimum? Because you keep rewarding it. You gave him your best, your body, your loyalty, your energy, your soul. And when he gave you crumbs, you smiled and said, "Thank you," like it was a 5-course meal. You brought him steak and he fed you crumbs, and you said, "Thank you." That's why he doesn't try. That's why he disappears and shows back up like nothing happened. That's why he keeps you on the shelf like a toy he only plays with when he's bored. Because you trained him. With every time you forgave too quickly. With every text you replied to after he went ghost. With every time you lowered your standards just to keep him close. You didn't teach him to love you. You taught him that he could do anything and still keep you. We teach people how to treat us by what we allow. Read that again. It's not about being nice. It's not about being understanding. It's not about being the bigger person. It's about what you tolerate. Because love without boundaries is not love. It's self-destruction. You were out here bleeding yourself dry for someone who never even brought a Band-Aid. And you still called it love. Let me tell you about a woman I worked with last year. She was the definition of a ride or die. She forgave him for cheating, forgave him for ghosting. She forgave him for raising his voice, disappearing on holidays, lying straight to her face. She thought if she just stayed solid, he'd finally see her value. You know what happened? He kept doing it, again and again, until one day she didn't answer. No explanation, no paragraph, no final goodbye, just silence. She blocked his number, stopped checking his socials, stopped wondering, stopped hoping. She didn't do it to get him back. She did it to get herself back. And guess what? He came crawling, 3 months later, saying all the things he should have said years ago, telling her how he missed her energy, how he didn't realize what he had, how he wanted to try again. But by then, she didn't care, because the version of her that used to wait for him no longer existed. That's the power of distance. That's how you untrain a man who got too comfortable with your forgiveness. Not through screaming, not through tears, not through another breakdown over a man who never deserved the softness you kept handing him, but through silence, through removal, through detachment. Distance teaches what begging never will. When you stop showing up, when you stop answering, when you stop giving him access to the parts of you he used to drain, you shift the whole damn dynamic. You stop being his comfort zone and start becoming his consequence. And trust me, he'll feel it. Because men don't value presence. They value absence. They don't appreciate what they always have access to. They appreciate what they lose access to. But let me be clear, this isn't about manipulating him into loving you. This is about healing you. Because when you finally get quiet, when you finally go still, when you finally pull back all that beautiful energy and pour it into yourself, you remember who the hell you are. So stop training him to believe you'll always be there. Train him to realize you were the prize, and that losing you was the worst mistake he ever made. Say it with me. I am no longer available. Drop it in the comments. Say it out loud. Let it echo in your bones. Because what's coming next is going to teach you how to rebuild your boundaries so solid no man ever dares to test them again. Number 5. He doesn't miss you. He misses access to you. So, my love, let's kill this lie once and for all. He doesn't miss you. He misses access to you. Stop romanticizing the weak-ass, "Hey, stranger" text like it's some sign from the universe. It's not fate. It's not healing. It's not him waking up. It's his ego doing a temperature check. He's not checking on you. He's checking if the door is still open. Let's be real. If he missed you, he wouldn't come back empty-handed. He wouldn't come back with a lowercase message after weeks or months of silence. He wouldn't come back without accountability, without apology, without action. But that's what you got, didn't you? A little ping on your phone, a breadcrumb, just enough to stir your heart, to make you wonder, maybe he still cares. No, babe, he doesn't care. He's just bored, or lonely, or horny, or his situationship didn't work out. You're the backup plan, the second option, the comfort zone, and it's you who keeps making that possible. A man doesn't miss you. He misses what you did for him. And what did you do? You were consistent. You were available. You gave your heart, your time, your validation, your emotional labor, all while he gave you inconsistency and silence. But he knew you'd still be there. He knew he could come back and get another sip from the fountain of your love. Not because he loved you, not because he changed, but because you made it easy. He doesn't miss you. He misses the feeling you gave him, the version of himself he got to be when you were in his life, the emotional spa you created for him, where he could disrespect you, vanish, and still come back for a massage and a hug like nothing ever happened. You were a charger. He only came back when his battery was low. You gave him power, and now that he's drained again, he's circling back like you're some eternal energy source. Don't fall for it. This is where you need to learn the difference between love and ego maintenance. Love shows up. Love stays consistent. Love doesn't come back only when it's convenient. But a man who uses women for comfort, he'll always come back when his life gets quiet, when the distractions fade, when he's lonely, when the girl he really wanted didn't pick up. That's not love. That's fear of being alone. And here's where it gets ugly. You know this. Deep down, you know he's not back because he values you. You know this isn't some Hollywood comeback, but you still answer. Why? Because you're hoping it'll be different this time. You're holding on to the potential of who he could be instead of facing the reality of who he actually is. Let me be the one to say it straight. Closure is not found in his return. Closure is found in your refusal to answer. You don't need to open the door just because he's knocking. I don't care if he's holding roses. I don't care if he's saying all the right things. I don't care if he's crying in the rain with your favorite song playing in the background. Because if he really missed you, he would have shown up before you had to become strong enough to stop waiting. So what do you do now? You close the damn door. You block the number. You delete the thread. You stop giving CPR to something that died a long time ago. You remind yourself, just because he comes back doesn't mean he belongs here anymore. And listen, he'll feel it. Not your pain, not your heartbreak, but the loss of access, the silence, the rejection, the new version of you that doesn't respond to WID at 11 p.m., the version of you that doesn't smile at the same old games. That's what will hit him, not because he loves you, but because he lost the control. Say it with me. I am no longer his option. Drop it in the comments. Let the universe hear it. Let him feel it through your distance. Because what's coming next? It's going to teach you how to rebuild your energy so high, so powerful, so untouchable. He won't even recognize the woman who used to open the door. Number 6. Build a life so solid, he's scared to approach it. So, my love, stop plotting revenge. Stop rehearsing what you'll say when he finally realizes what he lost. Stop fantasizing about him crawling back. Because real power, real transformation, it doesn't happen in his DMS. It happens in your discipline. You don't need revenge. You need focus. You want him to feel it. Then build a life so solid, so rich in peace, he's scared to even approach it. Not because you blocked him, not because you called him out, but because the version of you that used to need him doesn't even exist anymore. The best revenge is not anger, it's indifference wrapped in success. That's the kind of energy I want you to start moving with. Not bitter, not broken, not waiting for karma, just unreachable. Let me tell you about a woman I worked with 2 years ago. She was all in, ride or die. She was bending over backward for a man who couldn't even bother to show up for her birthday. She cried, she begged, she tried to fix it, fix him, fix herself. But nothing changed. Until she got tired. Tired of the pain, tired of repeating the same conversation, tired of betraying herself to be more lovable. So she went ghost, not just on him, but on the version of herself that settled. She hit the gym like her life depended on it, started therapy, launched the business she had shelved to support his dreams. She started pouring everything she gave him into herself. Day by day, she built a life so full, so aligned, so peaceful. It scared him. Of course, he came back. They always do. He saw her glowing on Instagram, winning, thriving. He sent a message. "I've been thinking about you. I miss you. Can we talk?" You know what she did? Nothing. She didn't even open the message, because by that point, she didn't need to. She was too far gone. Not physically, energetically. That girl he once manipulated, that girl who used to wait on his crumbs, she was buried, replaced by a woman who chose peace over pain, who chose to become the damn prize instead of begging to be picked. And that's what I want for you. You keep trying to win by getting even. You don't need to get even. You need to get elevated. Because when you start showing up for yourself the way you showed up for him, that's when everything changes. You stop chasing closure. You stop seeking validation. You stop explaining your worth to someone who saw it and still played dumb. And suddenly, you stop looking backward, because forward is too beautiful to trade for broken. You don't need to slam the door. Just build a castle he can't reach. Build your routine, build your body, build your boundaries, build your income, build your peace, build your circle, build your glow so loud he can't hear your silence without feeling it in his bones. And let me say this clearly, peace is power, not petty peace, not fake it till you break peace, but real, grounded, stoic peace, the kind that comes from knowing who the hell you are, the kind that doesn't flinch when the past comes knocking, the kind that doesn't entertain low vibrations just because it's 2 a.m. and you're lonely. This is the chapter where you stop hoping for his return and start preparing for your rise. He had access to the unfinished version of you, the insecure you, the overgiving, overforgiving, emotionally exhausted version of you. But this next version, she's sacred, she's locked in, and she doesn't flinch. Say it with me. I am building my peace. Drop it in the comments. Say it for him. Say it for the old you. Say it for the woman you're about to become. Because what's coming next, it's going to make sure he never even gets close enough to hurt you again. Number 7. If he had to lose you to wake up, he never deserved you. So, my love, let me give you the wake-up slap you've been dodging. If he had to lose you to wake up, he never deserved you in the first place. Let that hit. Because I know you're sitting there, hoping, wishing, praying that the day will come when he finally realizes what he had. You want him to regret it. You want him to feel it. And maybe one day he will. But by then, it better not matter to you anymore. Because a man who truly values you doesn't need to lose you to figure it out. He sees you while he has you. He doesn't wait until your love turns cold, until your heart goes numb, until you've rebuilt yourself from the ashes of everything he burned. Real men don't wake up after you're gone. They show up while you're still there. But let's talk about him, the one who didn't, the one who took and took and took until you had nothing left to give, the one who ghosted you, ignored you, belittled you, played games with your time and your heart. Now he wants to talk. Now he's changed. Now he's sorry. Too damn late. Let me tell you about a woman I worked with who gave her man years, She was loyal, consistent, patient, waiting for him to grow up, to heal, to get it. He made her feel like an option, kept her in a relationship that looked like commitment on the outside, but was empty on the inside. She begged for effort. She begged for presence. She begged for him to just see her. He didn't, until she finally walked away. Not with a dramatic exit, no screaming, no final text, just silence. She focused on herself, started dating again, started living, and when he saw that she wasn't looking back, he came crawling. He said all the things he should have said years ago, promised everything she used to cry about, told her he finally realized what he lost. And you know what she did? Nothing. She didn't flinch. She didn't melt. She didn't go back. Because by the time he woke up, she was already gone. Not physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. She had evolved into the version of herself who could finally see him for what he truly was, a collector of chances. That's what these men are. They don't grow up. They stockpile. They keep women in emotional limbo, hoping they'll be there when they're finally ready. But you are not a placeholder for someone else's growth. Let me say this with my whole chest. Never reward delay. Never honor last-minute effort. If it takes your absence for him to respect your presence, then he never deserved your energy to begin with. Because love without effort is not love. It's entitlement. And a man who feels entitled to your heart without working for it? That's not a man. That's a taker. Stop letting these latecomers believe they're still welcome. Stop leaving the door open out of guilt or loneliness or hope that he finally means it this time. Let him sit with the regret. Let him replay the moments you begged to be chosen. Let him feel the absence he created with his own hands. But you keep walking. Because the moment you go back, you send one loud, clear message. You can neglect me, and I'll still come running when you're ready. And we don't do that anymore. You are not a second chance. You are not the one who waits. You are not the woman he finds again. You're the woman he should have never lost. Say it out loud. I don't honor late effort. Drop it in the comments. Say it to yourself. Let it pierce through the last piece of you that still wants to look back. Because what's coming next? It's going to teach you how to become the woman no man can delay, distract, or downgrade ever again. Number 8. You are not a woman. He gets to forget. You are the lesson. So, my love, let this be your final reminder. You are not a woman he gets to forget. You are the one he remembers when the room goes quiet, when no one else loves him the way you did, when he realizes the peace you gave wasn't free, it was sacred, and now it's gone. You were never meant to be a background character in his story. You're not a page in his story. You're the chapter that changed the plot. You shook his world, even if he pretended not to feel it. You were the one who saw him, supported him, stood beside him when he gave you every reason to walk away. But now he doesn't get to rewrite history. Now he doesn't get to pretend he didn't lose something rare. Because some women don't get remembered for the love they gave. Some women are unforgettable, not because of what they gave, but because of what they took back. You took back your voice, your energy, your time, your worth. And when he looks back, he won't just remember the woman who loved him, he'll remember the woman who stopped. Let him remember the woman who didn't beg, who didn't break, who didn't come back. And you rise now into the version of yourself that will never be a second chance again. Say it with me. Drop it in the comments. Let the world hear you. I am the storm. I am the silence. I am the lesson. Because what's coming next? It's not about him anymore. It's about you, finally stepping into the woman you were always meant to be. And that, my love, is how you stop being the woman he forgot and become the lesson he'll never recover from. You don't get even. You get elevated. You get unbothered. You get free. If this hit your soul, if it woke up something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more no BS healing, and share it with a queen who needs this exact message right now. Because the moment you start walking in your worth, you become the kind of woman no man can afford to lose, and every woman deserves to become.